everyone. This is the Easy Allies podcast. I'm your moderator, Kyle Bossman, and joining us this week, Bradley Ellis, Michael Damiani, and Brandon Jones.
Oh?
Yeah, I like those noises. Brad, what is your goal this week?
My goal is to get up and give Damian an Oreo and have him eat it.
Yeah.
Wow. Is
Bad.
Is it like getting provoked to do it, or that's just your goal? Your goal is just to do that at some point?
give Damian an Oreo.
Great.
Actually get up and give him an Oreo.
Damiani, what is your goal this
Too bad
week?
we just had like a lot of like candy given to us.
Too bad for you.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to eat
bad
an
for
Oreo,
you.
Damiani.
He doesn't have to.
I mean, he doesn't have to. Goals doesn't have to happen.
My goal
Yeah. Yes.
is to use in a sentence, unforced, the word susurration.
Ooh, good word. Brandon Jones, what's your goal this week?
My goal is to give each of you fine gentlemen a thumbs up individually.
Nice.
Ooh,
A separate Poets
positive.
podcast.
Yeah, very nice. My goal is to, if anyone else says E3, to follow it up with Bebet.
E3.
Bebet. Okay, so let's get into corrections. Begin corrections music, please. Allison Court, the original voice of Claire Redfield, had a clarification. She says, I'm not striking. People have the info wrong. I'm with ACTRA in Canada. ACTRA is now on strike, and Capcom made the decision to go non-union long before the SAG, the American Union, went on strike. And also, I think it should be noted that people who are striking are not striking against Capcom in particular. Yoshi isn't made of yarn in Yoshi. He's made of some other
He's made a
fabrics and
Yoshi.
things and puffs. And,
All right.
Yeah, not quite yarn. 2 original Xbox games were announced for backwards compatibility: Crimson Skies and Fusion Frenzy.
Nice.
End corrections music. What's funny is I don't think Fusion Frenzy was announced at the time we did our recording. Phil Spencer was on the Giant Bomb couch and was just talking about what has been announced, and he's like, Crimson Skies, and I think we said Fusion Frenzy. We think we announced that. I'm like, I can't find any record of Fusion Frenzy before that interview, so I think he just kind of announced it there. But yeah, I think it counts.
Dropped it.
Sorry,
So just dropped it.
just dropped it. Oh,
That's
okay.
a pretty respectable
Yeah.
list of corrections for an E3 episode.
Well, it was
Yeah.
live. It was live. We had a lot of live
Oh, yeah,
corrections.
that's right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Absolutely.
But you missed those. Live viewers.
Yeah. It was fun. It's fun to have live corrections. We most likely will not do a live podcast for another 365 days. Feels good. Well, less than that. We have some good news to start off this week's podcast.
Tell me the news.
IO Interactive is now independent. Not only, you know what? I'll just read the statement. This is from IO Interactive CEO Hakan Abrak. I am proud to announce today that IOI is now officially an independent studio. We have successfully concluded our negotiations with Square Enix and have agreed to a management buyout. Crucially, we will keep all of the rights to the Hitman IP. That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
That is a pretty big deal. We see studios close a lot. We see studios defect sometimes, but rarely ever keep their huge IP from a huge publisher. I assume that was probably not cheap. I assume might be a little scary. They might have lost a lot of money to do that, but I still see that as almost a best case scenario for IO Interactive.
That tells me they believe in that franchise.
Yeah.
Hitman. They believe in it. We're going to see more Hitman.
Oh, for sure. I think
Yeah.
season 2 is happening officially. They said we're not stopping development on it when all these rumors surfaced, and then it turned out to be true. They're still working on Hitman season 2.
It's good news. People love that Hitman.
Jones is grinning right now.
I'm so stoked. Well, you rarely hear about this.
Yes.
And it's like, it's kind of one of those things where you look back and it's like, yeah, but I'm still mad about, no, I'm fine, I guess. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not,
yeah. Oh,
you know,
cool.
it's like, it's Square completely has the right to say, we don't feel like, you know, financially, you know, supporting this, just as exciting as it was for them to say, we are. You know, this is a franchise you don't necessarily associate with Square Enix, but we're going to step in and we believe in this. And we're excited about what they did, but we don't believe in it further. You know, we're not interested in investing further. But the team said we are, and they were able to retain the rights, and no bad blood, and it sounds great.
Yeah, one thing I should make clear is actually that the CEO thanked Square Enix in that very announcement.
Nice.
And so there's like no ill will
vibes.
there.
That's good.
it's
Yeah,
kind
that's
of good
nice vibes.
Damiani, you were giving me a skeptical expression at the conclusion of this announcement.
Part of me wonders if they were able to do this because they used, obviously it said season 2 is in development, or they said
Yeah.
that it's coming. If they didn't have some kind of pre-negotiations going with either Microsoft or Sony about picking them up.
You mean to be able to afford it?
helping them out? Yeah, like saying, hey, we are through negotiation channels. I'm wondering if they reached out to other publishers, specifically either Microsoft or Sony, because a lot of people are saying, Microsoft buying IO Interactive makes a lot of sense for them. They get another like exclusive or something added to their platform. That would be like a good match for them.
We talked about publishers.
Yeah, I wonder if they were reaching out for feelers, got hits back, and are like, all right, if we go this route, we have people who are going to help back us. Even though we're independent, we got publishers who are going to help us out, make this next one. It might be exclusive to a platform, but we can afford to buy out this. And as you said, like you were scared about how much this would probably cost them.
It probably cost a lot.
They probably are taking a big hit because they know they have someone who's going to back them up very quickly. It feels like doing this with that risk seems like, as you said, very scary if they had nothing lined up other than, hey, we're planning to release season 2, you know. I don't think that would cover how much they probably had to put into buying themselves out, their ownership.
That's a good point. They're investing in their own future, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think they plan to make that money back on season 2, obviously. I think they plan to make that money back making their own games.
Yeah,
for the
they
rest
might
of
have a
their
longer
careers.
term plan, but part of me really suspects that someone else in the near future will be announced as some kind of like partner or teaming up with them to help bring you something.
That'd be
and
interesting
everyone
to
will be
see.
like, oh, okay, now it like makes sense.
I wonder if this includes like merch and stuff, you know, across the board, anything Hitman.
All rights, yeah.
That's all theirs.
They own the IP.
So I
yeah.
wonder if you double down on that, not like the Hitman merch is flying
New
off the
movie.
shelves, but still like it's more than just games and movies too. I wonder, you know, it's like
There
they
are
got the game
two,
rights,
right?
but
There
I
are
wonder
two
if
I
they
think
Hitman
so,
movies.
yeah.
Yeah.
Neither did.
Let's go for 3,
New
maybe.
Order
they got the
do
film
well.
rights.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I don't think Hitman as a property is that valuable. Which is kind of like, that's kind of where I want to steer this conversation next, is Square Enix and its properties. With the announcement last year, that was last year, that they're making these Marvel games and putting some of their best studios on those Marvel games. That was kind of appalling to me. And then IO Interactive on top of that kind of made sense, and that Square Enix is just going in this direction. And I'm wondering if Square Enix will have room anymore for games of the Hitman caliber, of the Thief caliber.
You talking like mid-tier?
Mid-tier, yeah. Are those disappearing? Because obviously they still care about,
Raider.
Octopath. Oh yeah, Tomb Raider I'd put up in like AAA though. I would call Tomb Raider AAA.
Octopath's like mid-tier.
That's
as
low
cool
tier.
as it'll probably be,
That's low
but
tier.
like budget-wise?
Yeah, budget-wise, that's low tier, for sure.
All right, it's fair.
And so do we think going forward we see Square Enix dumping that mid-tier?
Maybe they don't need it. Maybe it's not financially valuable for them to have mid-tier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of their announcements coming out are either a lot of the lower tier ones. You said you mentioned Octopath. Lost Sphere was the other one.
Lost Sphere is
that was
definitely low tier,
announced.
for sure. Budget-wise,
they have
by
a
the
lot
way.
of mobile stuff
Yeah.
that they're heavily invested in, with Mobius and
fancy, yeah.
And the Go games.
and the I was about to
Yeah.
the Go games.
Sure.
Like they support those. So I feel like they figured out what their focus is, which is on the kind of like lower tier, like as in less budget, like lower budget games that have like a pretty decent return to high return on them, that make them completely worth it, easier to churn out in a smaller time. Because where they're really struggling is with their AAA stuff. Their AAA stuff is just taking too long to come out. It's like it doesn't seem like they've learned any lessons. I personally
They sold a lot of Final Fantasy 15.
they did.
Yeah.
That took a long time to come out.
Sure.
I thought after what happened with 13 and 1.014 that they're like, all right, we got to get things in shape. And now, yes, 15 came out, sold well.
Yeah.
I would say the fastest selling 15. I don't know how people feel about it now.
Fastest selling 15 of all time.
No, fastest selling Final Fantasy.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for catching me on that, Kyle. Correction there. Thank you. I don't know how the DLC is doing.
Yeah.
The first episode, how well it sold versus how well episode Prompto is going to sell.
Yeah, it's interesting to think about.
All the news that came out about 7 Remake, it's nowhere near finished.
Yeah.
Then by proxy, the Kingdom Hearts stuff, because it's also another Nomura project. Like, okay, does that now affect the development of that? It doesn't seem like they really learned their lesson. Like their AAA in-house stuff from the Japanese side seems to be taking forever.
Yeah.
Still. Like now. So that the B level stuff that was coming out wasn't selling. I don't know if I really, as you said, Tomb Raider is not B, that's AAA.
Yeah.
So you had Hitman, you had Tomb Raider, you have Deus Ex. you'd see those sales predictions that would come out for Square Enix where they expected to sell.
Yeah,
They
Deus
would
Ex,
sell
oh.
multiple millions of copies.
Yeah.
Square's like, didn't meet our sales. Like, are you kidding me?
Yep.
Yeah,
It's like,
they're
dude,
kinda
like they
nuts.
just had these weird expectations for those. I just don't think they knew what to do with them or how to turn them into like a profit for them.
Yeah.
So I think Hitman's the first one that they're shipping off. They're like, okay, that's the least valuable of the ones we have. So I would not be too surprised to see some of the people being, as you said, converted to the Marvel games, and that's going to be their focus.
Yeah.
I want to be surprised in the next year or so to see like maybe some more departures or news of like, Deus Ex like isn't coming back anytime soon. Everyone like it just didn't do it. And if Tomb Raider doesn't do well with the next one, that wasn't officially announced, was it?
No, just still teased.
Still-
We saw another leak of that, the
Yeah.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider this week.
Still leaked.
Yeah.
One of the worst kept secrets.
Yeah.
If that does come out and it doesn't do very well, especially after the last one with the weird exclusivity.
Yeah, didn't
crap.
that kill it?
Yeah.
Pretty much?
Like that hurt it a lot.
I won't say it killed it, but
Well, it
what
did
didn't-
not help.
It did
Yeah.
not help a lot. That might be the last one to go. So I wouldn't be surprised if Deus Ex and at some point Tomb Raider are just like, yeah, they don't fit into our plan. Like we're gonna go back to what
And
we
that
know
bums
best.
me out because Square Enix showed so much enthusiasm for when they picked up those properties, and they did well when they came out. When you think of Deus Ex: Human Revolution and how cool that was, the Tomb Raider reboot. I think Hitman Absolution was under Square Enix, and so for that reason you could say like, oh, come
Yes.
on, man. But it seemed cool that they were willing to go global, and yeah, to me, I don't even know if it's about growth. If you look at what Activision does and what EA does, they're kind of that same thing, where they will have some lower tier stuff, but the ravine between that lower tier and that AAA huge budget is deep.
I feel like Square Enix was one of the Japanese companies that got in back when they acquired those properties when they got Eidos Interactive, right?
Yeah, and Crystal Dynamics. And
That's also when Capcom started, like that generation. Capcom started to go after Western developers for all those games. What was the Rocketeer like?
Dark
game?
Void.
Dark
Void.
The
Yes.
Lost Planet stuff.
Yeah.
Like they were going after Western companies. There seemed to be this craze. Like Japanese companies thought, oh, this will help us out. We gotta go. Like everyone's talking about Western games are like beating us out.
Yeah.
Let's go bring in a bunch of studios under our banners. It seems like all those companies now have kind of like said no to all that, and they like didn't work out. I think Square Enix is the last that has a few of those under its wing, and they're the last to kind of like push them out. Like, all right, they didn't exactly work out for everyone. So I think you're seeing like the last remnants of that phase that happened.
Before we move on, though, I do want to give credit to Nier Automata, because that is not, I think, a full AAA budget game that Square Enix was willing to publish and willing to give a lot of attention to, and actually sold really
I
well.
can't believe they made another Nier.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy
Awesome.
they made another Nier, and it's crazy this one was so well supported. Well,
Yeah,
and
it sold
Platinum
well, yeah.
developed it as well, or helped out with the development. And so yeah, that's
Like
really
the
cool.
CEO of Square being a boss in the game, it's just like that goes a long way for me.
Yeah.
For somebody to be like, okay, you put my likeness in there, make me look stupid, it's fine.
Yeah,
Or
fight
make
me.
me silly. You
Fight
know,
me.
like, yeah.
Yeah, you're right, Jones. It kind of suggests some coolness to Square Enix. So, Jones, what is your vision of Square Enix? As opposed to Activision and EA, where do you put Square Enix? What is it? What is the perception of Square Enix as a publisher?
I got to give them more time. I mean, I think, like Damian was saying, there's a lot of clouds surrounding things that they're doing that I'm excited. I have no idea when they're coming out. I have no idea when the next time we're going to see it. I'd like to see more FF7 remake at PSX, but no confirmation that's going to be there.
Probably
no
won't be.
confirmation of Kingdom
Probably
Hearts.
not.
Maybe we'll see it at D23 this summer.
Yeah.
Who knows?
You will.
No,
They
we
have
will. We'll
promised
see
it.
that. We'll
Yeah,
see that.
They have
Yeah.
promised that for you at least.
That seems like a pretty obvious synergy if they're going to be, having them there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I don't feel as confident in the company as I did back when they were, seemed to have their hands in a lot of different things. They were working on something as persistent as a 14 that needed to be supported every single month with new stuff.
Yeah.
Versus like little trickles of announcements for things I knew were years off, and exciting announcements that I had to remind myself, oh yeah, Square is behind Life is Strange. Square is behind, these other things that like.
Ooh, that's a good one to bring up.
That
Yeah, that's good.
I
Yeah.
did, because again, I literally, until I said that sentence, those words were coming out of my mouth, my brain
Yeah.
was like, right, made that attachment. And that's exciting for a company like that to subvert expectations and kind of get out ahead and get the feeling that like we're bringing this to you. It probably would not have happened if we were bringing this to you. And I think that was what felt icky about Tomb Raider is it didn't feel like that, where it was just like, this wouldn't have happened, for that exclusivity deal. It was just like, oh, Microsoft is coming in. Thank goodness. Otherwise, this wouldn't have happened. Felt like, I don't know.
Sure.
Maybe that would have done better. So yeah, I'm optimistic but patient at the moment to get more info, to see what the next wave is going to be, especially those Marvel games. Like, it seems like Disney's making a lot of great decisions with Marvel right now, but who knows?
Oh yeah.
All it takes is just one weird project, and it seems like they're investing so much in it.
They're investing so much, and as Damiani just said, I don't think we can expect to play those games for years.
I just wish I found out about that game when I found out about the game and not found out about the deal.
Yes.
You find out about a deal, and it
felt like a deal.
It just
And
feels
they
kind
made
of
a
gooey.
trailer to announce that deal. Even.
Yeah.
Oh.
They had a trailer? I
Yeah.
don't remember that.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
man.
was
It just
That's
it
so
showed
weird.
like Cap Shield and
Yeah.
you know, like,
It had some dialogue over it too.
Super
Yeah.
generic.
They
Yeah, it was
went
bad.
with them.
Here's another deal. Here's another one that makes us feel icky, I think.
What's the deal, Kyle?
Modern Warfare Remastered is getting its own release.
How much?
Oh, I saw Jones's eyes light up. And
It's interesting.
Brad, let me see if I still have you. $39.99 US dollars.
When did this come out?
Ooh.
The
Came out
remaster?
November 4th of last year.
$40?
Yeah.
No.
But you
That's-
had,
yeah.
you had
No.
to buy it.
That is too much.
It's too much.
Right.
You had to buy which one?
Originally.
You had to buy the $80 version of
Infinite Warfare.
Infinite Warfare.
Yeah. Or more. But $80 was the least you could spend to play this last year.
man. It's crazy.
So I think a lot of people expected it to be 20.
Yeah.
Last
Yeah,
year I
it
paid
should be
20
20.
extra to play this.
Yeah.
$29.99 max.
40 bucks?
So that's a $40 game, most likely coming out June 27th on PS4 and July 27th on Xbox One. And by the way, this is not official. I expect by the time this is live, it will
Okay.
be.
Okay.
CharlieIntel.com, a Call of Duty only website,
Nice.
received images of the box and its price at Target and all those things.
Gotcha.
And so it's real. You can see the box. It's wrapped in everything. It's there. It's going to be released on its own. And so yeah, a lot of my questions I had written down were abruptly answered. Like if they waited too long, if the price is too much.
It's too much.
I mean, they know how much. They know the value of that game.
Is it $40?
They know people will pay that because
Yep.
despite all the criticisms that came out over that whole ordeal and Infinite Warfare's release, so much of the feedback was basically said, can we just buy the standalone? There'd be people like, I'd rather pay $60 for just Modern Warfare Remastered and Infinite Warfare.
I do remember
So
that
they
comment.
know,
I
they
remember that
know, they
comment.
know what's up. They know what's up.
You shouldn't have written that comment. Yeah. They saw that comment.
And I feel like most HD remasters on I'm trying to, because I buy most for PlayStation, are in the $30 to $40 range. Some are collections though, and include multiple games. So I don't see it as completely outrageous, but I would have preferred it at a lower price point, honestly.
Yeah.
I think $29.99 would, or even like $34.99, but not, like the $40 is like pushing it. It's like
Yeah, 30 I would understand. If it was 30, I'd be like, oh, okay. You know, like it would be nice if it was cheaper.
half-
you know,
20
it's
would
like-
be
yeah.
the sweet spot.
Maybe,
half
yeah.
the price of a new
20
game.
would be exciting. I would be excited about that. Maybe tweet that, hey, $20. There's no reason you shouldn't
Yeah.
buy this. But 40's like, maybe don't. There's this thing is too late because you said like, is it too much or too late? Like,
Yeah.
it's a remake of an old game, so it's like there's it's always time to go back to that franchise if you hadn't.
I guess why I asked that, Jones, is that up until now, if you asked them in an interview, they would say, no, we're not selling that on its own. We're not separating it.
The question I have is it going to work out better for them? Because I'm usually a fan of the delay. Is that like, we'll do this thing and we'll package it and will we separate later? I don't know. And like,
Yeah.
we know you're going to, we're just waiting. And then, okay, I'll reserve my money and then maybe get it later. And then you get another announcement later, maybe a week when nothing else is happening. And then, okay, now you're making headlines again. Same content, same thing you were selling earlier. You're just selling it in a different, you put a bow on it and then you're selling it a different way. Regifting. I most of the time think it's smart because, hey, you just got another headline. Good for you. That's awesome that you had the same product, but repackaging a different way, you get the news out there. But I gotta wonder if they're maybe trying to wedge it in between before World War II comes out. Kind of like in a month where it's like, no one seems to be talking about Call of Duty right now. Well, here you go. I wonder if it would have sold better when everyone was excited about it.
Oh, it would have.
When that zeitgeist was
You don't have to
happening.
wonder that. Really, you have to wonder like how much money they can. I think they optimize the money they can make out of this.
Yeah.
I think they did that right.
Yeah, it was all strategic. They
was-
had it all
yeah.
planned out.
Because if you attach if you had it 40 then I go, oh, okay, it's half off basically if I spend the 80 on Infinite Warfare. Maybe a game I might have felt like skipping is the space stuff I'm not necessarily into. But like, boy, I love that first Modern Warfare. But it's like you wait and you delay it later and then it's twice as much. Like, ugh.
I have a question. I was thinking about this recently. The Assassin's Creed game. You remember they launched one on next gen and one on last gen.
Yes.
The one on last gen is like
Unity
takes
and
place-
Rogue.
Rogue. Yeah.
Did that ever release on PS4, Xbox One?
I
don't think so.
I don't
No.
think it did.
That's what I think.
That would
that's
kind
what I
of
was
be a
thinking.
remaster in a way. They
And I
have
was
to like
thinking about that. I think
up-res it.
when that happened, we all assumed, oh, that'll come to PS4 eventually. That'll come to Xbox One eventually, and then
Yeah.
it never did. And so
Yeah.
that one actually made me doubt that this would ever be sold alone.
Not yet.
Yeah,
Got enough time. To go
Rogue
by.
could still happen.
Yeah.
Rogue could still
Anytime,
happen.
dude. Drop it.
Yeah.
It's also it's the 10-year anniversary of Modern Warfare as well. So it's
Right now?
2007, right?
Okay.
Oh, dude, I have no idea.
Yeah, I
Sure,
don't
it's
remember.
2007, so
Okay.
it's 10 years. So it's standalone release.
And the thing is, it is a good remaster.
Yeah.
This is not a phoned-in remaster. They put a lot of work into it, and you can see it when you play through it.
The main reason I'm actually I don't prefer the campaigns because I think multiplayer is a superior product whenever they release most Call of Duties. But I do love that campaign for the first Modern Warfare. But such a trip going in and playing these maps with with current gamers, like people that are reared on Call of Duty and are used to it being what it is. In modern days, it's crazy to go back to these like small congested maps and just like get killed immediately every single time.
Sure.
Just
Yeah.
the pace of Call of Duty. It's a great shock to the system if you've played a lot of COD to go back and play multiplayer on current servers with these old maps and guns and
What's up, Damiani?
stuff.
So yes, it
Kill
didn't
streaks and
I
whatnot.
didn't pay attention to any reviews or anything of the remastered, but didn't mess with the online at all, did they? I thought.
Movement's the same, but they added some stuff. They added some DLC. They added some guns that weren't there in the original.
Really?
The multiplayer is not untouched.
Compromised.
I didn't know if that had it because I know that's a huge part of Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
So
But they didn't like add wall running and things like that. They kept. They
I
kept
meant
Yeah,
like
sure.
the performance, like the new servers they're on and stuff. Like, did people complain about?
had
stuff
private servers.
Oh, okay.
Am I doing dedicated servers?
Dedicated
servers.
Okay.
So
That was
I mean,
a big deal when Modern Warfare 2 came out, I think, when it didn't have that.
Sure, I do remember that being a thing.
something like that.
But I never remember what's good and what's bad. Do you want dedicated servers or not? I don't. Obviously, you want dedicated servers. It sounds good. Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Our next story. Look, I don't like talking about the NPDs, but it's it's the week after E3. There's no news the week after E3. We're lucky to have this stuff. Injustice 2, #1 on the May NPDs. NPDs, by the way, are the sales reports in the United States or North America.
Are they just physical sales? I forgot.
No, so they added a lot of digital stuff recently.
Cool.
Not all digital
Not all
stuff.
of it, some of it.
But some of it. And
Very
so,
cool.
yeah, they're reporting a lot of digital sales as well. Injustice 2 on top.
Nice.
And I was thinking about Injustice 2, and I really want to have a discussion about it, panel, because I think it's a unique game. I think it is... I think you can look at that game and say this is a trend. This game follows some trends, and so what I have are some statements that I want to talk about, some truths about Injustice 2, and I want to talk about each of these truths. Injustice 2 is a licensed video game.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty weird.
Yep.
It's pretty weird to see a licensed video game be like this, but I think that we're in this time now where licensed video games are like this. That it's not a bad word anymore.
Yeah.
Only when it's tied to a movie license.
When it's
game.
tied to
Yeah.
the movie, it's usually
I don't think it's ever always been licensed games. There's that sort of stigma with licensed games.
Mm-hmm.
When you say movie, it's a movie license.
Yeah.
That's when I think it's like that's just like the nail in the coffin. It's like, all right, nope, I'm out. What
Yeah,
is this track?
I hear
Because those
Damian-
have to come out by a certain time. They're gonna be rushed. Or always like outsourced some like low tier team. I mean, all those
tier.
infamous Sega ones that came out for all the Marvel games.
Oh,
for years.
Iron Man?
Those were so like the late 2000s ones. Those
That's the
were
thing, Damian.
trash.
Yeah, because you can. Oh yeah, the Iron Man one.
Thor,
Yeah,
one.
you can point though. You can say Marvel games, fighting games have been huge. They've been. But if you look at like DC, if you look at anything but Marvel and look at fighting games that are licensed,
Superhero? Oh.
licensed at all, they're normally not good.
I mean,
They're normally not the best-selling game of the month.
are you talking
Yeah,
about like just
Justice
using
one.
the property or
Yeah.
license based on a specific like something that was already in another medium, like a movie or TV? Because like
I'll say like
it's
property.
like Arkham games. Like,
No,
you
we're
got
talking
the-
fighting games.
Okay, you're just talking about fighting games.
Yeah. Sorry, I should have said it. Yeah, I guess.
There's been, I mean, I don't know how well in terms of sales and quality, but in terms of quality, you had during the GameCube era, you had the the Naruto Ultimate Fighting games.
Was that number 1 in the
I
NPDs
think-
on any month?
Dude, I think
That's what
that
I'm
was
talking
like.
about, man. Yeah, this is ridiculous.
But those were good games. Like people, like those actually people like those
I
games.
think those
They
were
just
like
didn't-
player's choice. Like they sold enough
Like-
to be like whatever million
So
sellers,
yeah, like in
whatever it
Japan.
is.
I'm sorry. I know we're not. I don't know if we just want to keep it to North America, but
I don't need to, no.
But like in Japan, like the Bleach fighting games on PSP used
Yeah.
to sell pretty well. They've had several Dragon Ball games, fighting games that have done well before. Fighters is coming out. I'm sure Fighters will be your next one. That'll be like the big one. You're like, yeah, Fighters.
What do you mean? My next truth?
To stop the-
Fighters
Number one.
Oh, Dragon Ball
Dragon
Fighter
Ball
Z.
NPD.
Dragon Ball Fighters might be like.
I'm
the-
sorry,
like,
I didn't hear the Z that you added onto that.
yeah,
Absolutely.
That thing.
No, I don't think
great
it's
expectations.
even
for that
Fighters. I don't see getting to the top of the NPDs.
Come on, Kyle. You gotta
What?
believe, man.
Yeah.
You gotta believe.
to the
What?
top. I don't think it's
It's
gonna be.
multi-platform.
I don't think it's gonna be the best-selling
Dragon
game
Ball-
of that month.
Oh. Well, we gotta know what month is coming out and what against.
Yeah,
but
yeah. We know it's early
I-
2018, by the way.
Or
spring. I think it was
that
spring
game.
2018.
I think has a good chance of not only being number 1 but selling a ton of copies.
All right.
It'll be not only will be Arc System Works like number 1 best-selling game of all time. it could probably.
I'll take this bet, Damiani.
It could be up there as like one of the best-selling fighting games. Of
The
all time.
launch month of Dragon Ball Fighters, it will not be number 1 on the NPDs. You want to take that bet?
I need to know the month.
We don't know the month.
I know. I will take that bet once I know the month.
Okay, here.
sad.
How about this? It will not be 1 or number 2.
Oh.
Again, depends on the month.
It's too bad.
Damiani, you gotta take the bet.
What if God of War
Take
and
the bet.
Spider-Man come out in the same month as Dragon Ball?
Why would God of War and Spider-Man 2 huge Sony exclusives come out in the same month?
Why
Could
would two
happen.
Bethesda huge exclusives come out in the same month?
Well, here's what we're talking
Yeah, what
about.
if, what if like, never mind.
What if it comes out like
I
the
don't
end of the
know.
month?
What's
Like,
up?
I need to know the release schedule.
Well, here's what we're talking about.
We will clarify this. You know what? Write this down. We will clarify this bet at a later date.
I'm not clarifying this bet later.
Whatever.
But here's what we're talking about, though, Damiani, is Injustice 2 is the best-selling game of that month.
Which is amazing.
That's a huge deal.
Oh, yeah. It's a.
I don't think Fighters will get there, but Fighters will do well. Absolutely. And I think Fighters is along this trend of fighting games being popular.
What else also came out in May, Kyle?
Ooh, I wish I had the top
There was
one.
another fighting game that came out. Didn't do very well. But it was only on Switch.
Oh. Are you talking about Street Fighter?
Yeah.
Yeah, it counts. Hey, that counts.
But
Absolutely.
Didn't so well.
Didn't rank.
But what else came out in May that would have been its competition? Because I did take a look at it. I know your intent was not to go in depth with the MPD, but
Yeah.
I saw Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on there. I saw Breath of the Wild on there, which I was surprised. I thought Breath of the Wild actually would have dropped off, but still in the top 10.
Still chugging, baby.
Breath of the
Pretty
Wild
good.
did great.
I thought Prey was on there, maybe.
Yeah, but not high.
Okay. Basically, I just wanted to see like what else came out within like in the month of May or even like late April. So Mario Kart 8.
So you're suggesting it's not even impressive that this is the best-selling game?
No,
of May.
I saw the analysis. It said it sold close to 1 million. Probably was the estimate, which is not that bad. That's pretty good.
Okay.
Like almost 1 million, but multi-platform. Consider Zelda, like Breath of the Wild, almost sold that in 1 month on one system.
Zelda's multi-platform.
Wow.
No, this the Switch version sold 1-to-1 and almost sold 1 million copies in 1 month. So.
Well, there's nothing else to buy when
There's
it
a
came
Wii U,
out.
there's a Wii U version. Okay, so Mario Kart 8 was number 2. Grand Theft Auto 5 was number 3.
Jesus.
Keep selling. It'll never end.
It'll never end. Well,
20
Jones loves it
years-
too.
20 years from now, it'll be like in the number 8 spot. Look
Breath of the Wild was number 4.
at that. That's
And I was wrong.
You get a thumbs up for that, Kyle.
Prey's number 5.
okay.
Prey's number 5.
Oh, nice.
Ghost Recon Wildlands number 6.
Still selling.
Still
selling,
selling,
baby.
baby.
Selling, man.
Fire Emblem Echo Shadows of Valentia number 7.
Nice.
Get it.
Nice.
So generous.
NBA 2K17 number 8. NBA 17 MLB The Show 17 number 9. Overwatch number 10.
Look at that.
Yeah. Let me look
Played
for
that game this morning for the first time. That's a good game.
It's a good video game.
You guys should check that game out.
So how'd you do today, Jones? I was actually
I did
curious about
good. I got some Hanzo headshots. I was happy.
Hanzo.
That's all I needed.
The only other new release I see is Farpoint at 16, and
Wow.
it's
Farpoint got 16. That's
Yeah,
higher
it's
than I
kinda
thought it would have
interesting.
got. Yeah,
That's not
wow.
bad.
Street
Come on-
Fighter.
Come on, VR, baby.
Yeah,
Come
that's
on, VR.
The reason I bring up month, Cal, because it does
Yeah.
matter what comes out in the month.
Sure.
Like being number one
May's
in a
not a
month.
hot month.
Yeah,
May is not a
being
hot
number
month,
one
you're
on MPD in a certain month might not even mean you like sold that well.
I think that's fair, Damiani,
Yeah.
because like if it was number 1 in November, then we would be pooping our
game
pants.
I mean,
Busters.
yeah.
what you should bring up, I don't think you have it in front of you, Kyle, but comparing one's original Injustice's first month sales to how Injustice 2 did.
I kind of don't even want to compare them against each other too much. I want to compare. I think this franchise is interesting. I think the Injustice movement is interesting. So absolutely, we can compare them both as huge successes. I think it's interesting.
It's fascinating me too because I'm a huge DC fan. Batman is my favorite character from any medium, and I didn't really play Injustice 1 that much. I played Mortal Kombat versus DC a lot. Because I was attracted,
Really?
I was attracted to that idea. I just got a huge kick out of that.
Yeah.
And then maybe I just thought Injustice was more the same. I don't know why I did not give it the intention that it probably deserved. I don't remember like what other games I was playing at the time, but like I beat Injustice 2 the other night. I played it all the way through.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm dabbling in some multiverse. I'm getting to that point where I'm like, yeah, I might track one or two people online. I'm feeling
Cool.
confident with my Catwoman. I think I'm ready.
Did you go online?
I have not gone online yet, but
Dude.
tempted just to see where I stack up.
Jones is playing fighting games
Brad.
and playing Overwatch
Brad.
now? What is going on?
But Jones playing fighting games is exactly like why I want to talk about Injustice 2 because that is irregular. And
Yeah.
I think the license is part of what brings Jones
Oh,
in.
absolutely.
The quality as well. I think Injustice 2 is a game you can watch someone stream for 10 minutes and you can tell, okay, they did not phone this in. Like, they are not just kind of dancing around these characters and being like, oh, we'll throw Scarecrow in there just cuz. It's like, no, it's a very interesting, especially Gorilla Grodd was awesome to see what they did with him in the campaign and like how they justified. Like, there were very few encounters where it's like when they started the fight, I was like, why are these two people fighting? It was always like, oh, that's a very clever way. You made them bump into each other.
Yeah, because actually, here's our next truth, and this is not a fact. This is just something I'm assuming is true. Injustice 2 has the biggest budget single-player campaign in a fighting game. That has to be true. The campaign is ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, like what?
There's a battle between Flash and Reverse Flash that travels through environments that you don't see anywhere else in that game. Like you don't see in any multiplayer thing in the multiverse and they're like running down a freeway and it's like where does this freeway pop up in anywhere else in this game other than this cutscene?
They made it for just that like some house with a sign next to it. Yeah, they're just exactly.
So. Yeah, and for me, it's...
Why, though, Jones? It's fighting games aren't about single-player, man. It's not about the campaign. It's not about story.
Tell that to Street Fighter 5.
Yeah.
I think it is a love affair with the characters. I think they, when you see Atrocitus, from the Green Lantern universe, getting treated with the respect, and... Not only that, but understanding why they're here in this game. Again, bringing up Grodd, who does mind control. It's like, oh man, that opens up all sorts of opportunities for like, okay, now I'm fighting this character because Grodd's controlling them, and like, it's when they put people in there, it was like, oh, Scarecrow, interesting, and then it's like, oh, the fun you could have with Scarecrow in a fighting game, like he could pretend to be people and manipulate certain people, play on their fears. You never really know, like, what I don't believe, certain things are happening versus not, versus like again, Mortal Kombat versus DC, where it's like, okay. It just seems like you threw that person in there because you gotta have Flash because it's you gotta get the most popular DC characters in there.
I feel though that NetherRealm right now is setting a standard for fighting games that as Damiani said, like Street Fighter V had to put one in just to keep up, just to be relevant. They had to put in a story mode in their fighting game, and I think it is really interesting that it's almost becoming a part of the genre that you're fighting. Like Tekken 7 needed a story mode, whereas that. I mean, they had story mode in the past, but not on this caliber. Basically, just doing what NetherRealm did, this context between matches in fully voiced cutscenes. It was weird.
Alarming going from the reuniting, not spoiling anything, but there's turmoil in the DC universe. There's turmoil, Injustice 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Friendships broken, alliances shattered. There is a moment in Injustice 2 where they all kind of get back together a little bit to fight a greater good. And the difference between the weight of that scene, the eyes looking around across the table, like I trust you, but I don't, and we're together still, but like Batman's barking orders at us. I don't know how I feel about that. We'll go along with this for now. Jumping to the trailer we got at E3 2017 for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, nothing. No weight, no stakes. No, we're all just kind of hanging around because we all got paid to be here.
But Jones, I think that the reason
why are Chun-Li and Captain America having a conversation? Explain that. It's like because they,
Brad, I'll pose this to you actually though. Here's my belief. I believe those bad cutscenes are in Infinite only because of NetherRealm games. Is that true, you would say?
Yeah, I guess. Like, NetherRealm set the stage for a single player.
Yeah.
And it's a big success for them.
And those other games are trying to keep up and they can't.
Like, for me, someone who doesn't play fighting games a lot, I want that single player campaign in there.
How come?
I want that. Gives depth to the world, to the characters. It makes me care about the characters I'm playing more. And it's a good way to like learn the mechanics of the game before you hop online.
Yeah. And I think it's becoming a necessary part of fighting game packages, which is crazy.
Why is it crazy though?
Just because of what fighting games have been for the last 25
But
years.
I think they needed something to evolve
30
though.
for the last 30 years. Yeah.
For especially a much bigger audience instead of like, there's always the super focused hardcore fighting audience, you know, who just want it for the mechanics. But there's also, if they want those bigger numbers, they gotta appeal more to more people.
Yeah, and it's weird. I mean, Street Fighter Alpha 3 had a really cool story mode. And it is interesting to see it just evolve in this way. That, yeah, this intense budget was put into a mode you play once and put away. Is strange. It's strange to see that kind of emphasis happen, and it's strange that they're being rewarded for it.
Also, kudos to DC for allowing their characters to look silly. For that, and that's like to me, when I go into the multiverse, the first Catwoman that jumped out at me, I was like, it's like these colors and the head you chose and what, like,
because that's the final truth I want to talk about. Another interesting thing I think about Injustice 2 is that it has loot and cosmetics and microtransactions.
Yeah,
in a fighting game.
Yeah.
Ooh, all right. So this one got a negative response from Brad.
I don't know, man. It's just the trend of games nowadays.
It kind of is, right?
Yeah.
I think it's how that game stays relevant business-wise.
It's how they keep making money on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about the loot, but like the cosmetic stuff and charging for that, like that's been Capcom's domain since like last generation.
Yeah.
Nothing new about that. They've been charging for all outfit packs forever.
Sure.
They were one of the first to get on board with that.
I guess the way, Damiani, that it's different is that in Injustice 2, you can't buy a costume.
Oh, yeah, no.
You're buying packs.
It's packs, and you're hoping to get those pieces of gear to equip. I saw Huber go through that and stuff.
But that's the model now. That's the Overwatch model.
It's stuff that helps you in the game, though. The armor you get in Injustice. Before I get really upset about this.
Okay. In some modes, yes.
Yeah.
If you're in the multiverse single player, yes, it will help you out.
Is it the mode that people play, the main mode that people play in that game?
Well, I mean, people play different modes. If you're playing multiplayer online against other humans, it will be irrelevant.
Yeah.
If you're playing like
cosmetically, you'll look like that.
I'm 100% cool with cosmetics. I don't really like stuff that has advantage playing wise. So not into it.
Okay, so Huber explained this though, is the microtransactions you can spend money on are purely cosmetic. Anything that would boost your stats, you have to earn through in-game currency.
You have to earn it through in-game?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine with me, I guess.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's weird stuff.
Because it doesn't change the game.
It's a lot to keep track of, and I'm sorry if that was confusing to the audience as well. But I think it's a weird. I mean, I think the next Mortal Kombat game will be the same.
I think that's going to be in all their fighting games from now on.
Yeah. Is that good? Are other fighting games also going to have to? I mean, Tekken's got weird little items that you can slap on your characters.
I think you're just going to see that in multiplayer games in general.
Yeah.
Because it works.
It works.
They make money off it, so why wouldn't they do it?
Mm-hmm. I think as long as we stay at $60, that's the kind of stuff we're going to keep seeing.
Yeah.
But that's how we have a AAA fighting game.
Yeah.
That's what pays the bills, basically.
It does, yeah.
And so I think it's interesting. It is interesting to see those two things grow in those ways.
I'm also loving that we're in an era where treating comic book properties right results in more money.
Yeah,
feels
how good
good.
Is that? It's so
nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can tell, and I like that's not a directive that a company can pass down that is just automatically fulfilled. Like you can't just tell a company, don't screw this up, make it good like the comic fans want. If you have a team of people that don't really know the material, they're like, I don't know, like I have yet to play the Guardians Telltale game, but it's just like I would imagine Telltale's like, okay, we should, if we don't know Guardians, let's read up. Folks,
yeah.
Like let's get on this and do it right. And I think Marvel kind of led the charge with their films. DC's catching up. We finally got Wonder Woman. I wonder if Wonder Woman contributed to the sales of the game. It's interesting seeing a lot of general DC properties get that Wonder Woman push. It cracked me up when DC Legends changed the image on my phone, and now it's Wonder Woman
the
front
update?
center. And
absolutely,
Batman and Superman are like, hi, behind her.
That is cool. She's not a good character in that game, though, Injustice 2.
Cool character to play as. She's one of my favorites.
Sure.
She's actually my second favorite.
Yeah, I mean story-wise.
Story-wise, not... Yeah. But it is tough in a story because you do want to have... We don't want to justify why people are fighting, and the mistake they made with her is that they just kind of really put her on Superman's side. It's like, no matter what, she is not going to waver. So you kind of needed a couple characters that were always going to be with him and on the quote-unquote evil side.
Yeah.
But
that's what
she just was kind of one-dimensional.
I realize we're not like news-focused anymore, but that kind of bothers me about that story is that like there is a good and bad side. Whereas, it's more interesting if DC characters are fighting each other. And it's like, I don't know what to root for. Like, like Civil War, when Marvel fights each other.
Yeah.
It's like, Cap or Iron Man, I don't know. Even that kind of got like, oh, there's an evil side here. Okay, you know what? I think I hear something.
Oh,
Am I crazy, or is it sounds like it's podcast halftime?
it is, and you're crazy. The following are the official sponsors of Easy Allies for the month of June. Elfanis. Mango. Michael Kozachenko, who is producing video game long-form reviews on YouTube at youtube.com/MishaKoz. Hogue Law, business law firm. Whether you're starting a business at level 1, stuck fighting the dreaded fundraising boss, or finally cashing out with a well-earned high score, you need a good business lawyer at your side. Rick Hogue started Hogue Law to bring more than a decade of experience to companies like yours and is proud to support the Allies. Check him out at www.hoaglaw.com. Sweet Justice, a sound design company from England that focuses on audio for game cinematics and trailers. They're also heavily involved in sound design and sound implementation for games. They've worked on Battlefield, Mirror's Edge, Call of Duty, Injustice 2, and a load of indies. You can see and hear their work at www.sweetjustice.audio. Scorn, an atmospheric horror adventure developed by Ebb Software, set in a nightmarish universe of odd forms and somber tapestry. Go to scorn-game.com for more information. Richard Smuts, who you can follow at Thraxis. Iron Harvest, a real-time strategy game for PC, PS4, and Xbox One, currently in development at King Art Games. Join their community and help bring the alternate reality of 1920 plus to life. iKeyless. Need a new car key or remote? iKeyless.com has been in the key replacement business since 2002. Check them out today and they can help save you up to 75% off of the dealership's prices. If you type in offer code EZA at checkout, you'll get 15% off of your order. All of these sponsors are available in the description, all of these links as well. Thank you to our sponsors.
Thank you.
I have a lot of love and respect that I want to get into this week. So I'm just going to dig in. We don't have to fully discuss a lot of these things. A lot of them are just interesting perspectives that I wasn't aware of. We're going to start with this one. And this one we didn't quite... Ooh.
Nice.
Oreo denied.
Good job, Brad. Good job for remembering. Thumbs up.
Oreo denied. Damiani, I gotta respect it. Jones,
I'll leave that for you.
We didn't have
I'll
you
leave that
last
for you.
week to
Yeah,
talk
give me
about
that.
this, so I'm curious about your perspective on this as well. Love and respect. Allies, I didn't think you gave Bethesda a fair shake on your last podcast. Please allow me to give them the credit they deserve. This was my first year going to E3, and I must say Bethesda Land was the highlight of my trip.
Yeah, baby.
My friend and I made it into the event, and it was like entering a dreamland. There was music, the Chainsmokers performed, a Ferris wheel, balloon animal makers who would craft anything Bethesda related for you, and caricature artists. And they were giving out Nuka-Cola by the boatloads, free cocktails, 8 collectible Bethesda
Free
pins.
custom cocktails. Bethesda-themed cocktails.
Oh my goodness. And food everywhere.
be nice.
Everything was free of charge. Every one of Bethesda's franchises had a section you could explore. For example, the Prey Room had all kinds of candy to choose from, alongside a specialized cocktail section. Papa Joe's All-American Diner from Wolfenstein was there, and they were giving out free In-N-Out burgers, fries and ice cream. And the Evil Within Macabre Art Museum, I don't know how else to describe it, had creepy pictures on the walls, and the bartender was giving out champagne to everyone. It was insane.
Everyone. I hope not everyone.
Everyone, baby, just 21 and up.
You might have needed to be 21 older. I don't know.
Yep.
Kids aren't.
I just had to bring this up because even though the presser wasn't all that big, Bethesda was the only publisher to up their game in response to the public's first time gaining admission to E3. It was an experience I will never forget. Love and respect, Noel, aka Monkey D. Luffy.
We were just reviewing the press conference, so
Yeah.
we weren't reviewing like what anything else they're doing.
What was crazy to me is I was not aware any of that was happening.
we
That's
don't
why I
go.
think
We
it's a
don't
really
go.
interesting thing.
That's why.
Yeah. So Jones, you saw all this.
I've seen pictures of it, and I talked to people that went to it. I did not go to the Bethesda press conference. I was not invited. But I didn't like reach out to them because I was thankfully, thanks to Mr. Jeff Keighley, I was on YouTube's coverage.
Oh, right.
With Stephen Totilo talking before and after, pre-thoughts and post-thoughts of Bethesda. So I watched that while wolfing down a pepperoni pizza on the YouTube stage. And I will go to bat for the Bethesda press conference. I obviously, any kind of theme park theme, I'm going to be a fan of.
I just wish that was apparent in their actual press conference.
Yes. I
wish they showed us this stuff.
I think they maybe could have showed that off more. Maybe like gone outside maybe to show off some of it when they were talking about things. Maybe not do the animated thing where it's just like, and now we're going to go over to Doomland.
And they actually had Doomland? Show us that.
Gonna go outside and have someone there like, I'm outside Doomland.
Yeah.
Doom had a great launch. What do you think of Doom? Like, oh, Doom's my favorite. Okay, let's check out the new thing from Doom. And go back to the stage.
Yeah, I want to see Hell Knight walking around or something back there.
Yeah.
Show us.
Bring us in, yeah. But it does make me curious about the concept of theming your offerings at E3. Having a through line. That's maybe obviously bonus points for it making sense obviously theme park doesn't really make sense within the world of Doom or really anything that they're doing, but I did like that line because it's something Huber brought up earlier where it's like if you have the Xbox press conference where you're like Xbox exclusive, Xbox One X exclusive, Microsoft exclusive, it's kind of the repetition of again and again and again. That's their theme, really. That was Microsoft's Bethesda land was exclusive.
If the word exclusive said out loud.
And so, as much as I love what Sony does, it would be interesting for them to maybe step up and maybe like have a theme that kind of ties these things together. So it's not just
Sony's theme was weird theatrics. They had a theme,
right?
They had a theme.
So that might not have been a mission statement for them. Like strange theatrics is what we're doing. They might have just had a bunch of creative ideas and kind of like let it get away from themselves. So I would be curious to explore that in the future. Have them like have something that connects these things. It's not just we decided to do this game first and this game second because that's on our popularity meter, but like it kind of makes sense if you look at it. Like where demo number 1 ended and where demo number 2 picked off. Kind of bonus points if you can pull that off. If you can actually have a story.
It's like making a playlist.
Conference.
Cool.
Mixtape. Yeah,
mixtape. Thank you. Playlist. It's a little too new.
Same vibe.
Yeah. That's what the new era is. Hey, let me send you my playlist.
But it is tricky too because it's
boys in high school. Let us know if that works. By the way,
because isn't that wonderful if a company brings something to the show at the show? It's not an EA Play. You don't gotta like get in a cabin and go 30 minutes away from downtown. It's available to people that are there. They can go and check it out.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah, that's cool. It's cool.
I like that they did that. Yeah.
But if you're scoring a press conference, you can't.
Yeah, that's all we were doing.
Gotta separate it.
Yeah, I wish they let us know any of that was happening, but thank you for letting us know that happened. That's cool to know. Okay, so this next one is huge. This is so cool. I said we didn't have time for this last week. Before E3, we had ratios of games to speaking for each press conference.
Nice.
Yes. Ryan Talby came back and gave us some new stats.
Oh, thank you, man.
You ready for these stats, Jones?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, okay. Hey guys, I'm back with the E3 2017 conference ratios. This post I made on the forums has screenshots of all the breakdowns I did for each and every press conference and all information you'd ever need about the shows.
Who mentioned this?
On an easy-to-read Excel sheet.
Somebody mentioned this. The podcast got mentioned somewhere else because of a love and respect question.
Yeah, it was Funhouse's thing. What's that called? The
No.
The No. Yeah, it was on the No, which was cool.
And they totally gave us credit for it and on our community. They were like, Easy Allies put these percentages together. It's we did.
No, it was all Talby.
That was us.
Yeah. We put the time in. So anyway, you can find this on our forums on Easy Allies. The thread looks like it's called E3 2017 Conference Ratios. Anyway, so how can I make this a game? How can we make this fun? Okay, so do you remember the worst one last year?
EA.
The worst percentage, yeah. And it was
20-something.
It was 24%.
Yeah.
Who do you think was the worst this year?
Bethesda, probably.
Do we have any more guesses?
With talking?
Yeah.
Percentage-wise, though.
Yeah, percentage-wise.
Short.
I'm going to say EA again.
Damiani, you got a guess, man?
They had that super long Battlefront, though. That was a
that's true.
meaty demo.
A lot of talking in that.
Damiani, you got a guess. Give me a guess.
I'll guess something different than Ubisoft.
It was EA again.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was EA again. They were at least at 45.9%.
And I love the reaction I had with the FIFA announcement. Like they're like announcing these two guys you've never heard of, but they're funny. And they came out, and I was like, oh, I love these guys. These are great. And I was like, oh, this is so much better than bringing out a celebrity or something. And like, yeah, these guys are funny. Like I might watch this show. Yeah, these. Okay, you're done. Wrap it up. It's like, even like as funny as they were, and as able as they were to handle the script.
It was still a long script.
way too long.
Yeah, it was a long script. So that is a dramatic improvement. However, they are still last. The next two are tied at 59%. On the money. They had dramatically different lengths of their press conferences.
So Nintendo's one of them?
Who do we think is the two 59ers? The 59%.
Xbox and...
I'm going to say Nintendo and Xbox.
Nintendo? Okay. I'll say Xbox and Bethesda.
Damiano, you got a guess?
No.
Okay, it's Ubisoft and Bethesda.
Ooh.
So Ubisoft was...
Xbox beat out Ubisoft. Okay.
Yeah. Xbox still up there. So, Ubisoft's press conference was an hour and 10 minutes and 20 seconds long, and so they had 41 minutes of games. Bethesda's was short this year. They had a 37-minute long presentation.
Wow, that's it?
22 minutes of that was games, and so each of those works out to be 59%, which is kind of interesting. Ubisoft just had more games to show.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. It's cool. Bethesda is a more particular studio, and I like that they went shorter this year.
Yeah.
They said these are the games we have. We're showing these games, and they didn't.
I think that's okay. Unless I like people that like around the world that were like, I stayed up for that. You owe me an apology, Bethesda. I was like, wait a minute. It was up to you to stay up.
Yeah.
That's like staying up late for like the end of a season finale of a show and then being pissed at the creators because you didn't like the season finale. It's like, all right, but it's on you to watch it live.
And also, they ended with Wolfenstein and The Evil Within 2. Like, how can it be? The end was the best.
Two good endings.
Yeah.
Two good crunches.
Okay, so next we have 68.7%. And you know what? We have 70.9 as well. So let's group these next two together because that's close enough. Like, how would you know? How could you possibly guess? So who are those two?
One of those is Nintendo.
Absolutely, it is.
Okay.
Which is actually a slight decrease for Nintendo.
Oh, okay.
Nintendo and Xbox?
Sony's number one. I mean,
Nintendo
Sony
and Xbox?
Yeah, so it is. So those are those two. So that's a dramatic increase for Microsoft, who last year was 55.7, this year 70.9% games.
Excellent.
They went hard on games. I really like that. Phil Spencer came out and said, "What? We're gonna show off 44 games. 22 of them are gonna have the word exclusive in front of them." Yeah, okay, I get it, Jones. It's annoying to have exclusive, but that was a lot of games. That was a lot of games to show off, and interesting too. Nintendo obviously had the shortest thing ever. It's weird actually. We have a percentage for Nintendo last year since really they just did Zelda.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
It was. Didn't they start with Treehouse Live?
They started with that Zelda trailer. Reggie came out, introduced the Zelda trailer, and then the like an hour of talking about the Pokemon game, Sun and Moon last year. Yeah, so those are cool. What?
That was right when I showed up at IGN because I worked for IGN that day last year.
Oh, yeah,
I remember like showing up at the team and they had Pokemon up there and I was like, oh yeah, what'd they do? And they were just like, they're talking about Pokemon now. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's like,
oh, okay.
I'm kind of curious what new Pokemon stuff they have.
Even me like that was too much. Because they didn't even show new stuff, I think, until like a half hour into that hour.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was brutal. Okay, so yeah, we know Sony's number one again. Last year they were at 70.6% games. What do we guess the percentage is this year?
They did
75.
very little talking.
No, wait, I'm sorry. I'm going to say 80. Flat 80.
Okay, I want to hear more guesses.
77.
Damiani, you got a guess?
I wouldn't be surprised if it's in the
84.
80s though, man.
Ooh, Damiani on the money, 84.2%.
Thumbs up for Damiani.
Yes, well
On the
done.
money.
An hour, 2 minutes long, and 51 minutes and 18 seconds. 18 seconds. That was how much time
I
spent
think that
on
percentage is
games.
too high, actually.
I think we do.
Which might seem
I think
like
I agree with you.
madness. But, as silly as the Forza demo that was not gameplay with the two female drivers who came out, as much people as the hate, although I got a kick out of it, maybe it was because it was live, because I actually went to the Xbox press conference, but the reveal of the Forza car, Player Unknown coming out on stage I thought was cool. I do like having someone there.
Yeah.
Somebody that's not you. And like, I don't like the Kobes, I don't like the Jamie Foxxes, I don't like where it's like, why are you here? Like, if it's not apparent why that person is there, but not having a Kojima level
this time,
walkout.
yeah.
Even if it's not necessarily a surprise, like, oh, that person's there, it's just always nice having someone else go to bat for Sony. Someone who does not directly work for the company coming out on stage to show off something that they're working on.
I just realized that we did not do our musical intro. What is important to know is that it's never too late to.
Oh. love and respect. We're on the desk. We're changing things up.
You know what? You know what's very funny, Jones?
From now
is
until
that
forever.
I know there's gonna be a lot of comments. You can delete a comment. You can say you forgot the love and respect song. You could delete it. Nobody's deleting that comment. I know I'm just still gonna see a bunch of those.
Just save your comments till after the show.
Just save them till after the show. You know what? Maybe I'll do a live correction sometimes. So we have more stats, which are really fun. The longest demos. And
Excellent.
I think the longest demo is easy to guess if you remember correctly. This is an 18-minute, 50-second live demo.
18 minutes.
Oh, Metroid.
Metroid. No,
The
sorry, that
3DS.
would not count. We're
Oh,
talking
during a press conference?
During a press conference.
18 minutes
minutes.
during a
During a press conference, who would do such a thing?
Sea of Thieves.
No. Who would do this? Battlefront.
That's right. The
Yes.
multiplayer. The multiplayer.
Just a whole match. We're playing a whole match live
Yeah,
in a press
yeah.
conference. I actually thought it was pretty
Put it
cool.
on
Yeah,
West.
very cool.
I think it was directed poorly. I think they had a lot of tech
It was
issues
also
with it.
managed poorly because
Yeah.
there's like one part where the guy's like, "What hero should I pick? Han Solo?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, let's get out of this." I was like, "You
Oh,
just cut
yeah.
it." Whoa!
Oh.
Like you could hear the commenters being like, "Oh, and this thing, oh, that would have been cool to watch." But anyway, moving on. Like
Oh, yeah.
directly, they cut to like NBA Live, like clearly like an empty screen of
Yeah.
just like like an NBA Live menu, and they was like, "Yeah, camera 2, let's go there." You know, it's like, what are you?
I think it was a great concept, and yeah, exactly. Maybe they just didn't have the team prepped for that.
Yeah.
Damiani was cool getting the Sea of Thieves, which was number 2.
Nice.
That was an 8-minute and 38-second demo.
Neat.
Who do you think is number 3, the third longest demo?
Assassin's Creed? Forza?
No.
I don't know.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
That was
yeah, it was
8 minutes and
pretty long,
33 seconds. Shadow of War beneath that. That was a long demo, I realized.
Bruce, yeah.
Yeah, Bruce. Days
like-
Gone had another long demo. That was almost
Yeah.
7 minutes. And then Anthem, 6 minutes, 45 seconds.
Cool.
Here's really interesting, though. Ryan Talby's got the stats. I love this. Should be noted, unlike last year, the only demos actually played with a controller in front of the audience was NBA Live during that awkward death stare segment and Battlefront 2. Every other demo was really just an extended gameplay video. Interesting change
Including
from last
Forza,
year.
which was faked.
Oh, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Don't appreciate that, Microsoft. No.
Interesting change from last year when shows made sure we saw someone with a controller in hand. Do you remember God of
Yeah,
War? It
they
was like,
did
I'm
do
playing
that,
this.
yeah.
Yeah.
Gears 4, I remember
Yeah.
that, but that was 2 years ago, right?
Yeah. Why the change? Love and respect, Ryan Talby. Thank you, Ryan. I would like to talk about that for a sec. Why change that?
Maybe they're afraid of
fear.
glitches and stuff like
Fear,
that
for sure.
popping up. Like, you remember Assassin's Creed 4 when they showed it? Like, the demos.
Oh, yeah.
Just bug out during it.
Even Final Fantasy 15. Remember
yeah.
that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They don't want moments like that
You know what,
anymore.
Jones? It may have been 15. 15 may have been the final straw. Because I think Sony did well with its live demos. Uncharted the year before that was a live demo, and they froze. And they said, we're going to still keep doing that.
Yeah.
They froze in place, and we all cheered and had a great time because that was a live demo. It truly bums me out to kill them.
Maybe they're like, people already know that they've played it before on stage. Now we can just show without it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But I think fear is number one.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's like,
it's probably fear, and then beneath that, the audience won't care. You're right, Brad. I think you're totally right. And it is
They're like,
missing something.
whatever.
And again, that's why I give EA so much credit for having
It's
that.
so
18-minute
weird
demo.
that EA, it's like the stiffest presenters,
Yeah.
the least personality, the most like corporate attitude,
Yeah.
and yet has this just almost 20-minute completely free roam. Like how hyped are you to play Darth Maul in Battlefront 2?
Darth Maul.
What was it Hubert?
It's
that likes
Hubert.
Maul?
I'm not playing Darth Maul.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
Guess
okay,
who's
so
Brad? Guess who's
Come on,
Brad?
right,
over here?
Callous.
Guess who's Brad?
But like, Huber's stoked on Maul
Yeah.
going into this. Maul gets 34 kills.
Yeah,
It
that
comes
was
out on
pretty sweet.
top. It's like every time they kill, like, surely somebody's taking out Darth Maul at this point. They cut back. Nope, there he is.
Yeah,
just,
both I got a lot of
flipping
kills,
around,
too.
tearing it up. Like,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
That is awesome, and 1,000 things could have gone wrong.
Yeah.
And
We saw a bunch of people play a game, play a multiplayer battle match in the palace on Naboo, and people were like, "Dude,
Yeah.
this is some high
oh, you mean
grade."
because we hate Naboo?
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
Cool,
everyone
Naboo.
like I hate Fandom so much. I'm
Yeah.
just like, ah.
Actually, do you remember? Shoot, I forget which Battlefield it was. Maybe 4, where the multiplayer demo seemed pretty scripted. It was the falling building one.
That's 4.
Do you remember? And it was actually kind of a bummer of a demo where they're like, and now people
Because they had
are
like
playing this
people like
live.
lined up perfectly to
Oh,
see
yeah.
it fall down and stuff.
And people on jet skis and stuff.
The
Yeah,
jet
and
skis.
so it is. It's cool, refreshing to see EA be the people who are fearless.
But it's like you get those shots of Westy getting killed like 100 times every time that guy would switch over.
Yeah.
Like switching away from Han Solo and stuff like that.
Next time I would say rehearse, get an esports team who's used
Yeah,
to
you got to
finding
find
the
the
action.
in between on that.
Yeah.
Then you'll be solid.
Because it turned out they had spectator tools the whole time and they barely. Oh man. Oh boy. Okay. Okay, here's another really fun one. This is a short one. Ties in with EA. EA owns The Sims. EA owns Mass Effect. What if EA makes a Sims game set in the Mass Effect universe? Love and respect, Chris Parberry. I love it.
You got the scoop.
What a comment.
Chris?
I love that. No scoop, just a great idea.
That's
So
a
is this a
cool
brand
idea.
new
Yeah.
release, or is this a pack coming to Sims 4?
This would be a new release.
Okay, brand new game.
Because that'd be the way to get me in.
Standalone.
That would be the way to, like, I'm not going to buy a pack for Sims 4, but Sims Mass Effect, maybe.
Especially with Andromeda, all about colonization and
Yeah.
like moving
Well,
on to this new place.
What if they have the new Sims, then they're like, we're going to have free DLC later on that's Mass Effect themed? Would
No,
you
though.
buy it?
No. This is a game. Because I think it needs a little more narrative. I think you need a little more to it.
What if the save file syncs?
I think
you
it's a
unlock
crossover.
more content in Sims 4 in Mass Effect Sims the further you go along in Andromeda.
You know what? I'm out. You grossed me out. Okay, so this is more stats, more interesting E3 analysis, and that's what's fun to do week after E3. We'll see if we can get through this whole thing. This is chunky, but I dig it. I dig the stat crunching, everybody. Is Sony getting ready to focus on PSX over E3? Hi, guys. Finally, after a long time, I can start supporting the guys who I have been watching for the past few years now. I had a huge Kickstarter bill to pay off. Whoa, sorry about reading all this stuff. But now I can finally become an ally and support you all. So thank you for putting out the best VG news and content on the net. My question for the panel is as above. Is Sony now starting the process of ditching E3 as their biggest showcase event of the year in favor of their own event held in December known as PSX? Here are some figures to help you see the process. At E3 2015, that was an hour and 33 minutes long. The speaker ratio, we had 5 Sony executives speaking there and 8 developers. In the PSX of that year, more, it was longer, it was an hour and 46 minutes. That had 9 Sony executives and 7 developers. Then we went back to E3 in 2016. That was an hour and 20 minutes, shortest one yet. Speaker ratio, we had 2 Sony executives and 1 developer. Huge drop off there.
Wait, this year at Sony?
That was last year's Sony.
Oh, okay.
E3 2016, the 2 Sony, that was Andrew House
got it,
and
got it.
Sean Layden, and just 1 developer.
Yep.
Which developer, though? I
Kojima.
can't. Oh, thank you. Yeah, great. PSX of last year, again, shorter, an hour and 11 minutes. 5 Sony executives, 0 developers. And then E3 this year, 1 hour runtime, 1 Sony executive, 0 developers. So, it'll be interesting to see the runtime and format of this year's PlayStation Experience event to make more comparisons, but after the Year of Dreams in 2015, is this just a complete change in format for Sony in regards to how they produce their public on-stage showcases, or is there something deeper here? Could Sony be edging toward a Nintendo Direct style approach, not specifically direct videos, but in terms of addressing their own fan base directly via a yearly PSX event and not as a part of the event that is E3? So proud to finally rejoin the family as an Easy Isles patron. Love and respect from Ireland, Shenmue Guru, booba booba booba
Guru.
booba. Edit. European website Jagat Review released an interview this morning with Worldwide Studios president Shuhei Yoshida, where he had this to say: "There are things we held back." Yoshida laughed.
We held it back.
It was definitely a haha.
Yeah.
We chose not to show those at E3 2017, but there will be more news coming out from our teams later this year, no question. So we had that update kind of supporting this whole theory.
Oh, yeah.
That PSX is the big show time for Sony now.
It's a different audience, PSX, I feel like.
Who
they're appealing?
Is
They're
that
appealing.
really a different audience?
They're appealing to more of their hardcore fan base at PSX, I would say. Like, E3 is for all the big other news outlets out there to see, like everyone else mostly, but PSX is a very focused audience.
Yeah, Gio's not going to walk out on E3 and be like, Vita!
Yeah, full
You know, like-
They're gonna cheer.
That's a great comparison, yeah.
Yeah, they're appealing to the diehard at PSX way more. Mm-hmm. So we're going to see Bloodborne 2.
I mean, haha, that is where we're going to see more announcements. There
Yeah,
are
absolutely.
exclusives that were being saved for PSX.
Yeah, they can't have it all just come out.
Damiani, why though? E3 is the big show, baby. Why not show it big at the big show?
Who is it? I read some article. Kotaku,
Okay.
Polygon, someone criticizing E3 again. They were, I forget who we were talking to. I'm sorry. I don't remember. Point
Okay.
was, they said, according to someone who works in the industry, E3's
This
too
is the worst citation ever.
Sorry. I mean, I'll find the article. I'm not making it up.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
said E3 is like too late in the year now for anyone to care. Like,
it's earlier and earlier, though.
No. For like GameStops and retailers.
Oh, on
all
that
all the
side.
deals
Got
are
you.
signed like in January, by January, and the year is locked up by January.
Mm-hmm.
So PSX being December is right before that when they lock up those deals. Apparently,
Really?
maybe that's
Immediately before Christmas.
apparently that's the window when they sign them up. Like E3, like everything's done. It's a done deal for anything coming out that year. So maybe Sony realized that, or seeing that PSX is a good place not to only showcase the hardcore fans, but this is a better venue for appealing to retailers and stuff. So saving some of those bigger exclusive announcements for that has a payoff, because they can wow some of them, like, oh wow, I just saw that at your show. When we're gonna increase our shipment, we saw the reaction from all the fans, like, we believe that game's gonna sell. The E3, it was 6 months ago, they'd be like, I forget the reaction to that game. Was it good or not? Who knows? Like, if that's like the full story on that.
That's interesting.
E3 might not be at the best time anymore in terms of the business side of things.
Yeah.
Which is, we don't always call that out.
Never. I was not even thinking of that
We
angle.
don't talk about that when we talk about like the press conferences, but they aren't always just for journalists and the public. It's
It's for Walmart and Target.
Yeah, it's also for retailers and distributors. Like, they have to see what's hot. But if all those deals are signed for the year, supposedly, then they're like, cool, that's cool to see how people reacted to it. We already bought this many copies for all of our stores to buy, so what? Cool. But the PSX, as I said, we saved Devil May Cry for 5 for that. All right, well, we were feeling a little, unsure about that game, but man, their reaction, all the press coverage, that's gonna easily sell 1 million copies. We'll take this much order or something,
I wonder if somebody's watching that and just like, oh, we bought too much Marvel vs. Capcom
Business
Infinite.
people probably like Anaheim a little bit more. A little nicer resort area. You got Disneyland right there.
Oh no, those LA hotels, baby. Those
me?
LA
Anaheim?
hotels.
That Grand Californian
This guy's
hotel,
crazy.
baby. Come on.
Come on,
The
Damiani.
amount of attractions in Anaheim.
Those
right around
pools
there.
on top of those buildings. Come on.
How close is it to the beach from downtown?
Damiani, I'm a suit. I don't care what city I'm going to. I'm relaxing. I don't buy the Anaheim's a nice
free all expenses, skip to the front of the line Disney pass that
Yeah.
Sony's gonna be providing.
Ooh,
all of them.
okay, all right.
Oh, there you go.
That's a
Yeah.
perk. That's a perk.
You found like that Star Wars land pass
yeah.
when it comes out. That's
God.
gonna be-
So, Jones, I do want to talk about this broadly, and I think Damiani brings up an interesting point. I don't just want to talk about Sony in particular, but I want to talk about E3 versus your own personal event.
Yeah.
And the different audiences and the different purposes for these two things. And Brad kind of said, yeah, PSX is more your fans. Do you agree? Like, that's just...
Oh, yeah, like Windjammer is a classic example. It's
Yeah.
like there's no place for Windjammers at your E3.
And we would have
live
loved Windjammers
orchestra.
at E3, though, which is so interesting.
But it
We
would have just
loved
got
that.
overlooked probably by most
We
people.
would have loved that. But
Yeah.
again, it's like, I think E3, you want to announce the things that are gonna excite somebody no matter what kind of gaming fan you are. It's just like, oh, did you see that zombie game that they brought back and we saw more of? That's great. Oh, did you see Spider-Man finally hit it? Oh, they're this huge exclusive franchise, Uncharted. Looks like it's firing on all cylinders. Oh, hey, Monster Hunter is coming back. Like that's a franchise we didn't really know they were gonna invest in. Clearly making a huge investment in that. Whereas like you go to PSX and it's like, I can just come out on stage and say a word and walk off, and it's whereas like E3, like I need to clarify a little bit. You need to understand like specifically what we're doing with that franchise. Whereas like if I make a deal right before a PSX, like I could probably get out on stage and show a logo and just say like, hey, this is also coming. Maybe like put that at the end of another announcement that I'm doing before I walk out on stage.
And then here's what I would ask Jones is, Nintendo is weird. Nintendo does do directs all year long, but does show up big at E3. And I think Nintendo made those announcements, plainly, hey, we're just going to show a logo. Here, we're going to show the president of the Pokemon company, and he's just going to say, hey, we're working on that.
I'm doodling.
And
right
to
now.
me, that's like the core. That's to that fan base. And so I wonder if Nintendo treats E3 differently than
Well, that's the only like conference I'm aware that they show up to, right?
wow, yeah, Brad, right. Because they don't do Gamescom
They
anymore.
don't do TGS.
And they don't do TGS.
They do everything themselves except E3, right?
Do they do Gamescom? We'll have to learn.
No, maybe. Oh, they have like little things.
They have been at Gamescom before. I don't
Sure.
know if
I
still
bet they do.
They've never ever been to
'Cause
Tokyo
actually,
Game Show. Though.
They even show up at Comic-Con, don't they? They show up.
Yeah,
at
they have
Comic-Con.
a- they go
So
big-
They
they
probably
actually
do
go-
show
But
up.
are
at
they
go
like?
big on
Are they
Comic-Con.
showing like
Yeah.
press conferences though?
No.
there?
Comic-Con is
Right.
like, yeah, it's consumer focused. They basically, I'll be interesting to see this year because E3 was open to the public. if they go big again.
Oh, yeah.
It was basically like their follow-up show. Like, E3 was press only, so they took everything that was at E3 pretty much and were like, hey, everyone in the public, come play it. Like,
they'll do it again. They need those tanks to live. All those weird stuff they had to build. Yeah.
The only year was like last year they didn't have Zelda playable at it. It was just kind of stinky. It was like, whatever. What was I gonna say? But Nintendo,
they handle
this was
E3
a big
versus
deal.
other
Yeah,
things.
this was a big deal when Nintendo decided to shift away from live press conferences to their pre-recorded thing. I mean, it was for a variety of reasons, but they had been kind of shifting towards a direct approach because it makes their own things, their own little mini tentpole events. All eyes are focused on them. Mm-hmm. And I think companies saw wanted to wait and see the reaction to it, and it works for Nintendo. You see how even the smallest things, people get worked into a frenzy over it. And it's a good thing. I don't know how much is moving the needle for like the business end of it, but Sony doing its own focused event just for Sony stuff at the end of the year in its own time slot is like, it's like even if you don't buy the in business stuff that we were talking about, it's the end of the year. No more games are out. It's like it's done.
Well, everyone's on vacation.
It's like the
starting December 1st. Everyone's tuned out.
And we're starving
just
for
for
headlines,
us, for everyone else, it is looking forward to what's next year.
Yeah.
And they show you off. Here's what you're going to be playing. They show off what you're going to be playing next year. It's just a big celebration for them. I think it's worth it. I know why Microsoft probably doesn't want because they don't have a lot of exclusive games for their own systems. Like, you really got to go there for just like Halo? It's like, okay.
Yes, you could. Microsoft, please do it.
If
Please,
Microsoft had a lot, like a lot of exclusives like that, they would totally be doing that every year. Nintendo.
Well, here's the thing, Damiani, is I think that the Nintendo Spotlight had a different vibe from a Nintendo Direct. Like, Reggie was really hamming it up with his poetry, and I really think that they thought this was... I guess E3 is where you compare yourself to your competitors. And I think that's why Sony brought what they did to E3 this year. I think they wanted to show how they are different from the other people.
They have such different approaches, honestly, and they each work for them. Like, pretty much going forward, Sony is going to be appointment only. Like their thing, how they do it.
What do you mean?
Like on the show floor.
Oh, okay.
I want to bring in the show floor thing really quick.
Sure.
Like Sony is doing that schedule thing, and they only open it each day. And
so if you don't know, they have an app. They
Yeah,
have an app where at 2 points in the day you can schedule to get into the line.
Whether
for
you're
various
press
games.
or not, you do it that way. And since it's open to the public now, they tweet out like at this time you can start making your appointments. That's their own thing. They have a very modern looking, very simple booth. It's not like elaborate. It's just a bunch of stations and it's nice looking. Whereas you look at like Nintendo, their spotlight isn't the biggest thing. They don't do a big, huge press conference anymore. But they had this elaborate booth, like New Donk City themed and stuff with these statues. Last year they did Zelda. I don't know this year they did like 3 tournament stuff for Pokken, for ARMS, for Splatoon. Yeah. And the previous year they brought back Nintendo World Championship.
This year they did all of that in their own booth.
Yeah, they did all that at booth, which probably was a money saving tactic. But in the past, even when they were doing the press conferences, they had big live event, the Smash tournament that people filled up. They had they said the Nintendo World Championship.
I think Nintendo likes to show up big at E3.
Yeah, they do their own thing.
Yeah.
I think they're maybe this year because when did it happen? When did Nokia become the Microsoft Theater?
Last year.
Yeah, and they didn't do anything last year for a big. So it's just Zelda. Remember? They didn't do. I don't remember them doing a big side event. I don't think they did.
No, they did the thing before with the Mario Maker.
That was the year before.
I don't think they had a tournament last year.
I wonder if they just don't want to use that. That was the theater they were using for all those events.
Yeah.
And now it's Microsoft's theater.
Yeah, Directs feel like a PSX shattered into several pieces. You know, it's just kind of like, and I think that's one nice thing because I don't look at. I don't think E3 hurts PSX. I don't think PSX hurts E3. I think they're like two sides of the same coin. Where it's like we win both ways. Like we show up to the big party that everybody else is at.
Yeah.
We bring fun stuff. We show what we can do. We take our own slice of those announcements of that community, of that buzz throughout that week, and then we show up, like we said, at a time where not a lot of people are really talking about anything, and boom, and we have all these fun announcements.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I mean, Gamescom used to have press conferences, and I think those are just gone. It's crazy.
It's a bad time. Like it's not the best time.
Was it August? Is that when Gamescom is?
August and September TGS. Like I feel like those are just. Oh, I mean, Gamescom is just a bad time. It's also when that's what I was looking up. GameStop Expo, which is where companies go to really convince retailers to buy their stuff.
Yeah.
Like to support the whole end of years when things get locked up. So that's happening end of August. So it means that September, October, November, those last few months are when the deals start to happen to secure that.
The deals.
So But yeah, Gamescom seemed to be like a huge thing in terms of press conferences, and each year it seems to get weaker and weaker.
Yeah.
For that, it's like almost like Sony is like the only thing sometimes, and then even Sony.
Blizzard revealed Legion there, didn't they? They had like that whole big
At
thing.
Gamescom.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes, they did.
Blizzard seems to go big at Gamescom.
Why not? Oh, because they hold the event. They have the national. Is that what
okay.
the international?
Okay.
Obviously, yeah. That's where they have their big Dota thing.
Very cool.
TGS is just like
Dota.
a weird thing. They still have a press
man.
conference.
Sorry, I'm thinking of Valve.
Yeah.
You're thinking of Valve.
So Valve shows up big at Gamescom.
Right. Blizzard has their own event.
Blizzard does as well.
They don't need
But
no
they,
Gamescom.
they showed up at Gamescom though
Yeah,
last
it's weird,
time.
actually.
BlizzCon's a U.S. I mean, it's held in the U.S. I know it's meant for international, but it's harder for international people to
Yeah.
go to that.
Interesting.
Like StarCraft 2 was blown out big at Gamescom the year we went.
Yeah, I don't want to see Gamescom deflate. I would like for them to have press conferences.
It's just
at Gamescom.
everything is like second half of the year focused. Like what is in the beginning half of the year, and like PSX being in the December month, like they own that. Like December is almost like becoming synonymous with Sony now. It's like December, Sony month. They have PSX. So cool.
Yeah. It's crazy they can pull this off.
Something
What's
else you
up,
made me
Jones?
think of too, just to add on, to try to get into the developer's mindset about how the calendar year works.
Yeah.
You were talking about January, a lot of the deals are locked down. By the time we get to E3, it's like this stuff's been bought and sold for months now. I think another thing that's been bought and sold is the demos. Like that Spider-Man demo, I think, even earlier than the January of 2017 was already figured out. Like they knew going in, okay, what are we demoing in 5 months? And just like, oh, let's do the Mr. Negative scene. And like, okay, well then let's have a sect of our development team just focus on that for the next 5 months. Yeah, do other things, but constantly return. Like we know it's going to be that demo.
Jones,
because you cannot put that stuff together
Did you ever
in
watch,
a month.
Did you ever watch the behind the scenes feature on God of War 2 where they talk about getting ready for E3? It is so fun to watch because they stress about their demo and they have it like basically spaced out and they're like, oh, this stupid Pegasus thing, we can't figure out how to make it fun, but it's got to be in our E3 demo. It's got to be.
Well, yeah.
And just like the stress they had.
Well,
going
Halo
into
2 is the
E3.
funniest story ever, where they had made a thing that wasn't even in the game, you know?
yeah.
And then they got on this huge high from E3, and then that week after they were like, shit.
yeah.
We wasted so much time like working on that demo.
Yeah.
And so I a lot of times when I go to, because E3 kicks off the whole summer, so it's then Comic-Con and then it's PAX and then Gamescom and TGS, and there's like a lot of events after that. And the number one question whenever I go check stuff out is like, is this the same demo at E3? And so I think they start to hit that mark of like, do we want to push and hit that E3 because that's all the most eyes are going to be on us, and then have that be the same demo that shows up throughout the summer, or do we want to push it back and then make the big push at Comic-Con because we're not going to be ready by E3 or PAX or another show or Gamescom.
But it helps to be ready by E3. It helps.
But E3's that first.
Yeah.
If you can hit it by that first show, you win.
I got 2 more. I want to get through these.
Excellent, love them.
Hey, allies. No questions this week. Oh, yeah, this is just a sweet one. Just a big heap and scoop of love and respect.
Ooh.
My parents recently had to move in with me for a month while transitioning to a new house. By the way, like, bless you for
Yeah, that's a test.
That's a good child.
This coincidentally overlapped with your solid week of quality E3 coverage. This inevitably led to my parents sitting with you all, my wife, and myself through every single press conference, stream, and impression.
Wow.
Since then...
What's up, Mom and Dad?
Yeah, and what's up? My parents have learned all of your names. My father's excited for this week's Tabletop Escapades big bug battle. My mother is actively following Kyle's journey to beat Wozniak, and both have shown concern for Damiani's lack of sleep over playing too much Stormblade.
As have the rest of us.
Yeah,
We're all in
rest
the
of us
same
do.
boat,
Yeah, we're
folks.
concerned too. Just know your personality's positivity, hype, love, and respect literally bleeds out of your community, and offers a welcoming and inviting view for outsiders to appreciate this world we all love so much. Thank you, Brandon Patton at Thumb Blister, but the B is used once. Cool comments.
Thanks, Brandon.
What a cool
Jeez.
week that must have been with,
Yeah.
the folks and everything. Yeah, that's cool. That's so funny, the idea of parents
Yeah,
getting
like
into this weird
parents,
stuff
like,
that we
Just
watching
imagine that
press
first
conferences.
conversation. So what's going on this week? You're like, well, E3. You're like, oh.
Yeah, good week to tune in, absolutely. But I get that. I get that sometimes, even though if you don't know what people are talking about, just the passion, the excitement, you get invested in those things, and I think that's pretty cool.
What's Sea of Thieves?
Yep.
Watching
Especially, there was
once you see
one-
Jones talk about it, you
One
get
comment that I saw that I love getting a fresh perspective, stepping outside of this garage and just kind of looking at it, from bird's eye view. One comment that really stood out to me that I saw in chat one time was somebody just jumped in and they were like, this is great. Like, I love Easy Allies. And just like, cool to meet the community. And somebody was like, cool, yeah, it'll take you a couple streams to get all the inside jokes, but then you'll be dialed in, you know?
Sorry about
and
that.
And it hit me
yeah.
like, oh, that totally is a barrier to entry. Like, you could just tune in out of nowhere and be like, what language are they speaking? Like, what crazy stuff is going on?
That's why we had to kill that.
So that's why I love that you lock that away.
Yeah, it's gone.
And so the fact that different people from different eras can join and
eras
can enjoy our window into this fun, fascinating industry.
Sometimes we do weird stuff that I think looks like an inside joke. It is just us being weird. Like, let's say I just went like, grabble, grabble.
Yeah.
And somebody was like, what's the grobble, grobble? And it's like, no, Kyle just does stuff like that.
That's right.
And look, half of the time, I'm out of it too. Like, I don't find out about this stuff until later.
Oh, and you know what? I just realized we said E3 1,000 times and I'm not.
Oh, I know. No, I've been.
Man.
Every
You got
time.
one.
Every time you've killed me a little bit inside.
Grabble, grabble.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, cool comment. You know what? I did this backwards. We have like a tough one to go through here. Here we go.
Ugh.
Oh, not like emotionally tough, just like this. Hi, allies. I don't like the Beyond Good and Evil 2 trailer because it's callous. A quality that I see threatening the artistic value of video games. There we go. Mm-hmm. We're shown two heroes making a daring escape, and we're asked to share in their exhilaration. I see a police force that has fired missiles into a congested city area. I see a police ship damaged and losing altitude, which is about to destroy lives and livelihoods in the city below. But who cares? We, the heroes, got what we wanted. Clearly, a primary pleasure video games give us is the sense of power. We make superhuman jumps, shoot supernatural weapons, and survive fatal circumstances, and it makes us feel good. But, like dictators, we're losing touch with marginal characters, and with that, the feelings of weakness, inconsequentiality, and vulnerability that make us human. Not all escapism is equally desirable. I'm wondering if anyone on the panel agrees with me, or if you dismiss my concerns as just another variation of the tired out argument that violent video games make kids violent. Love and respect, Professor Nanaki.
A lot going on there.
Yeah, a lot going on there. Interesting takeaway from that trailer, which I didn't even like. Oh man, they really are killing lots of people. So I don't know, kind of interesting.
I think you lose something in that piece of media by not knowing what they're stealing and why they're stealing it. I like the mystery.
Yeah.
Especially with space exploration.
They're stealing that chip that gives us the coordinates to that thing.
Right, but did they originally have that?
Are they good guys necessarily?
They're clearly not good guys.
Yeah. So for me, it was tough to like them. It was tough to get on their side.
So you kind of feel this way. You're getting that.
It's a mixed bag. The vibes that I got from that trailer, the carefreeness, seemed a little strange. It's like they were experts, but they were super clumsy. Like they pulled it off, but like he didn't make that thing well enough to last more than 5 seconds in the guy's hands before it just melted apart. Like, did he do that knowing it would fail and so he would leave? It's like he shoots the thing directly above him and yet the glass only falls on the other guy. There's just a lot of details that are like strange.
It's a cartoonish world.
That seem very convenient.
Yeah.
That seems like, oh, this is cartoon. This is Looney Tunes. Got it.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it's not Looney Tunes. It's very realistic. It's modern. Look how realistic everything looks. But then it's kind of carefree, but it's also very serious. It just it seemed to ping pong a little bit.
That's anime, man.
Done. Question answered. Moving on.
Because that's what I would say is anime does that a lot. You know what I mean? You're having a super serious scene and the next time it's like boop, boop, boop,
yeah.
And then like their heads will make weird shapes. But yeah, I guess I'm used to that kind of tonal back and forth. But here's the thing is like in GTA 5, it's fun to shoot people. It's awful. It's bad to shoot people, but it's fun. It's fun to do that. And that is weird because that's an awful
chaos,
thing to do.
Basically.
It's fun to cause chaos in a video game, but that's wrong. And that happens in real life, and that's terrible. And so it is really interesting, is like that dynamic, you know what I mean? That you can point at GTA 5 and you can say, yeah, I did horrible things in that game. Is that a poor reflection on the art form? Is originally how I think that was introduced. Sorry.
Well, I mean, look at like Yakuza. It's like that is a franchise I do not have a lot of experience in. That is a franchise that potentially seem a little over the top to me.
Sure.
But like from how it's been explained to me by Ben Moore and Michael Huber, two people, and you, Brad, but like two people not at this table who are very passionate about that franchise.
I never played it.
It's not just like, these guys are just bad guys, and they just go out and they do bad things. They're mean to everybody. You know, there's just lots of mean happening in this game. It's like, no, there's like, you got to know where these characters are coming from, and why, what means stuff to them, and
it's very different.
Honor is extremely important. Lineage is extremely important. There's a lot of things they feel like are expected of them, of how to act, decisions that they need to make. So it's not just as simple as like being an ass. You know, like to me that can't go very far in a game. So I either like something like a Hitman, where it's like, it's kind of up to you to figure out what Agent 47's up to in his brain. We don't really give you anything.
Yeah.
You know, this is kind of a blank slate. Or give me a Max Payne, where it's like, no, it's loaded. Like there's a lot of backstory there if you really want to dig into it.
Yeah, like GTA 5 has a lot of backstory on the characters, and it makes sense. They're like motivations, everything like that.
Yeah, but when people are playing online, when they are causing chaos, that's not there. That's not there at all.
Sure.
Yeah.
Very much not so, yeah.
And I would argue that's not hurting the art of video games.
It's just fun.
Yeah, I get the arguments, and I get that it feels weird to cheer for these people who are it's an ape who's causing chaos in a huge city. It doesn't hurt the other games that are trying to strive for more, is what I would say. I think some games are going for art, and some games are going for chaos.
I think there's room for all types in the medium. I don't think necessarily need one type and eradicate the others.
Right. Damiani, do you think it's like wrong to enjoy games like that?
I mean, sorry, I've been like thinking about this like as you've been answering.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about an answer for this to address the question. I mean, I think that there's a lot of layers to this.
Sure.
I think the first thing is that in the escapism part of it, and sort of the artistic part of it, in the way that in games where you're able to do things that are on the violent side, whether it's killing or engaging even in shooting and stuff, I think it's valid and worthwhile to explore that in terms of how these developers believe like it should be depicted, in terms of how it looks to them. Like some games shooting looks goofy and animated. It's cartoonish. It's not realistic. And it's giving yourself as a person a way to explore a little bit of that kind of, you know, that activity without actually crossing. Basically saying, how far can they push before it's like crossing a line in terms of some stuff, in terms of video games are a way to experience things you cannot do in real life. Whether you're inhibited by skill, which like a lot of people love to play sports games or action games because like I can never go out and do that.
Yeah.
Like I'm getting the closest taste I can of doing this, but there are no consequences as well as the other part of the equation in that most rational human beings do not want to go out and like murder people.
Right.
Like there's something telling them like that's very bad. But in a game, there's part of your humanity has to question like what is it like you have some kind of curiosity there, like even visually what does it look like you can go watch it on television, you can see in the news, which is the most realistic and probably the most hard-hitting form of it, which is why they have to like usually warn you about seeing it, because it's the more real it gets, the harder it is for most people to process and deal with it. Whereas video games, I think, is just like one of the most fantastical versions of it, that it's easier for your brain to process and start coming to terms with the concept of it. Like everyone knows the concept of death and killing and stuff usually at a young age, and right and wrong. But the more you get to see and expose to it, I think your brain's able to process it more deeply and at a higher level. And without short of actually doing yourself, which no one should be ever doing that.
Right.
You need a way, I think, to develop as a person to process that and to like intellectually think about that kind of activity. And games are an interesting way to see how developers try and like push that.
But here's the thing on top of this. I think that it's a very good thing that children are in GTA.
That what?
Children aren't in GTA
Are
5.
not.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. You can
The elderly, disabled people,
Yeah.
there's a line, definitely the Rockstar
and
line.
that's weird that there is a line that they say, you know what, not them. You know what?
Because like that starts bringing up obviously it starts going into the moral quandaries like that.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was saying push the line, like I think there are like things like the no Russian level. Like that was hard for some people to go
Call of
through.
Duty.
Oh, yeah.
Call of
Airport.
Duty.
And what's
Like,
weird is
you are,
I
like,
think
you are
it was responsibly hard to deal with.
Yeah.
I think it's easy to say Call of Duty is cheesy and what you look at it like today, but I think that level actually had a purpose at that time and was affecting. So it is interesting to bring that one up.
Yeah, I mean, there's way more violent games than Grand Theft Auto out there. What was the Manhunt? That one,
Yeah.
that one, probably drew a lot more criticism and controversy than anything GTA has ever
But
done.
for me, man, that was boring.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it was just repetitive. And I'm just
yeah.
like, all right, you're not giving me more stakes to make me really realize, okay, I really want this character to get out of this situation. It's like I don't care about any of these people. You can all just be awful and
I think as
I'm gonna
opposed
go
to
play
those
something
things, I think Beyond Good and Evil 2 does present itself in a cartoonish way. I think it
I think it does
protects
too.
itself.
It's doing
in some ways.
think of scenes in any the summer action films. Like how many times, it gets called out sometimes. Sometimes like Civil War, they try to go a little bit deeper and a little bit more realistic. Like, hey, you guys are destroying shit. You can't keep doing that. You actually kill people. All this cool looking shit you do, it kills people.
Oh, like the intro, yeah.
Yeah, it's that's
yeah.
why we want to put these the Wachovia Accords on you because you need to be
Right.
kept in check.
Good job remembering that. Good
Tony,
pull.
Tony Stark's
I love Tony Stark's line where he's like, well, we were out there kicking ass.
Yeah.
I love his play on I saw that movie and I liked it, but I guess I shouldn't have. It's good to question that stuff.
Yeah, and I think games do a good job of that in their own way in certain games. Like Telltale Walking Dead, the original ones, and just the Walking Dead series of games. The consequences of your choices. Characters will die. They seem very simple, but they're very simple decisions. They have so much meaning behind them. They do such a good job of something that's not like determining the fate of the world. You're not shooting down a battleship. You're not blowing up the Death Star. It's do I go with this character down this hall or do I let them go by themselves? Oh, that person might die by just telling them to go. That stuff. What's
interesting about The Walking Dead to bring up is that it's a very cartoonish looking game in its look, and just like the graphic novel isn't. It's hey, this is not for kids. This is not jokey. This is not silly.
Yeah.
And that way,
even though the depiction of it, it's still trying to get you at that level of do you understand the consequences of your actions?
Yeah.
Some games do it differently as well. I know this is gonna sound hilarious, but on a grander scale, because they were talking about the scene with the police cruiser crashing into a building, so large scale destruction.
Yeah.
The Fire Emblem Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn those two games played together.
Okay.
So the first game, you're Ike's Grail mercenaries trying to liberate your country. You go around all these other countries, you do your thing.
Sure.
You're the heroes. You see it from your perspective. Mm-hmm. The second game starts out, you see it from the opposing country's perspective. To you were to them, you were conquerors.
Are these both the GameCube games?
One's GameCube, one's Wii.
Okay.
To them, you were the conquerors who obliterated their nation. You.
Ike's the bad guy?
Yeah, they're they want to defeat them. You just ruined our nation. These innocent people died and are suffering because of your stupid little conquest. Why do you have to come here and conquer a country and stuff? In any good and evil is not always black and white. Whenever there's someone in any fight of any kind, it's perspective. To one side, the good guys you're presented in a movie, Guardians of the Galaxy, to to Pirates of the Caribbean, to any franchise, one side you're presented as the good guys, these are the heroes, but some other group of people, they are the villains. They are not the good guys. That's it's never as clear cut as that, and very few games I think do that show that. We're presenting this as a feel-good, happy. You're the saviors here, but to somebody else, even not talking about the villains, the presented villains,
it's actually,
to innocent people.
Yeah.
You from their perspective, you are not good to them.
And these are clearly pirates. They have a pirate ship. And in pirate movies, you see pirates just blast open the colonialists. It's bye. It's are they all? Is everybody a bad guy in that boat?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's so yeah. Fun comment. We got a lot of discussion out of that, but we got to move on. It's time for bets. Next week's bet: Valkyria Revolution launches on Tuesday, June 27th. A little snickering from Michael Damiani. You're not excited about that?
I'm not excited about that game.
That could be about the complex sides of wars. We don't know. It could be.
I don't think so.
I don't
Though
think so
Valkyria
either.
Chronicles 1 definitely does.
Yeah. Good. Another good example, actually. Anyway, of cartoonish style, but handling some serious things. How many viewers will it have on Twitch.tv at this time next week? Brandon Jones, what's your bet?
400.
Damn. 300.
Oh,
Dude, what? I went huge. 7,000.
7,000 is a leap, Brad. I said 319.
So,
Okay.
dude, let's
Okay,
go.
so I got the low.
Oh no, Tamiya's got the
Alright,
low
I
one.
got the
No,
low.
it's gonna be 20.
It's got that anime fan base.
No, I
I
don't
believe.
There's
It's
gonna be
already out in Japan though, so I feel it's gone.
there's gonna be somebody helping Brad out, somebody with a huge community.
Oh no.
Rocket Beans is
That's the worst.
Let's talk about last week's bet. ARMS released last Friday. at right now, how many views will it have on Nintendo's official YouTube upload of the ARMS Grand Finals? We checked before the podcast, so it's not this very second, but it's irrelevant for this bet.
A fantastic opportunity for the Purple Platypi.
Oh, yeah, they had 3?
4 votes on this, right?
No, I didn't get Don. I didn't get Don this week either, yeah.
Okay.
I need to see Don's face for me to remember to take his bet.
Got it.
Otherwise, it'll be Don's responsibility to call me or something. Anyway,
Or
Damiani.
the Purple Platypi, just saying.
Yeah, or the Purple Platypi. Yeah, Damiani, you bet 150K. Ben bet 273,000. Huber bet 375,000. I bet 540,322. The actual number is 330,104. So Huber, extremely close, just 45 off, is the winner. Brad, you're in that Huber seat.
Oh, dang.
We'll get to that, but the Purple Platypi now have 9 points. Jones, did you do that noise?
I didn't.
Oh, so it was Damiani.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Like perfectly in time with
Yeah.
Brad there.
I couldn't even believe it. I thought Jones stepped in there. Wow, Damiani, really good. Red Eagle 16.
Caca.
Ooh. It's a fancy
Dude.
caca.
Picturing an eagle doing that's super funny. Caca. Like a cup of whiskey with him.
Caca.
Caca.
Let me tell you a little bit about Easy Allies. Easy Allies is, we do lots of things other than this very podcast. We do live streams. We do previews of video games. We did many previews of video games during E3. So check out easyallies.com to see all of that neatly organized because it was a lot of videos.
Reactions.
Reactions.
Our top videos from E3, all reactions. So
Yeah.
I love them.
Yeah, I don't love the reactions. They do well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta react.
It's the time. It's that time of year, baby.
Yeah, it's that time of the year. Lots of stuff. So check out easyallies.com and check out patreon.com/easyallies to see how you might be able to support the Easy Allies and how we might be able to give back to you in return.
Case in point, this desk.
What's up?
This desk was an investment that we made in E3. We now do the podcast at a desk. Hopefully for people that are like, yeah, but I listen to the podcast. What do I care?
Oh.
The mics are now placed, so you don't get this stuff where I'm talking over there, and then I come back and everyone's focused. Everybody can see each other and be on mic at the same time.
Oh, it is right. It
Curious
is nice to be able to see each other
audio-wise
well.
how
I
this
like that.
affects the podcast.
Yeah. You're right.
So,
It is easier.
and that was just something through the support. That was not a tier. That was not a goal that we had on Patreon.com.
Yeah.
That was just an investment we were willing to make. And I'm curious to see. Consider this Mark 1 of the Easy Allies official desk.
Great.
I'm eager to move on to Mark 2 almost immediately.
Iron Man, baby.
Just keep upgrading.
I should say, even if you hate this, even if you miss the couch desperately, we probably won't change. Those mic stands are terrible.
They're like
Yes.
bob down all
Yeah,
the time.
those are
Time
Yeah.
consuming. Just
Yeah,
the two people in the middle of Kyle and I are just not comfortable.
Yes.
This is the way a podcast should be done.
This was a fun podcast.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. I actually really do like the table setup.
Nice.
Brad,
Yes.
because you were, and let's talk about goals. Sorry, how'd you do on your goal this week?
At first denied.
So your
But
goal
the-
was to give Damiani a cookie,
Yeah, he fake ate it though.
and then Jones ate
And
it.
then I real ate it.
But
Okay.
that's a win for me, So I ate a
Sure,
cookie.
sure.
Brad's taking the win. Damiani, how'd you do on your goal this week?
I forgot my word. So.
Suscitate?
Failure.
Suscitate? Suscitate? Suscitude?
Sucker.
Couldn't even tell you what it is now.
Yeah.
That is a goal fail.
Susceptible.
Resuscitate.
Jones, how'd you do on your goal this week?
I did good.
You did thumbs
Gave
up to
everybody a thumbs
everybody.
up.
Nice, Jones. Yeah. I bailed on my goal. Totally forgot
You
about
got
it.
one.
Not
at
even
the
got
beginning.
one.
Yeah.
One when you were announcing what the goal was.
Oh, that's bad.
Couldn't even get the second time.
Bad. You know, because I got to moderate it at the same time. It's hard to remember everything. Oh, boy. Brad, you're in that seat that won the bet this week. So you get the right and responsibility to share your Twitter handle with the world.
Cool.
You get to promote any Easy Allies video you would like to promote. There's a lot of them out there. You get to get the final word on anything you've disagreed with or simply want to reiterate. And you get to sign off with your trademark sign-off.
Sure, you can find me on Twitter at BradleyEllis87. The video I want to promote is Frame Trap from E3 with Kyle,
Ooh, that's a good
Brandon, and Michael Huber.
Yeah, that's a good podcast.
I sat it out because I won last year.
Yeah.
We got whole lore going with that.
Did you win last year?
Yeah, I won last time.
Nobody won this year. There was no winner.
I thought Brandon
We all won.
Oh, what?
Yeah, we all won. We all got to continue.
Ben said I ascended.
Yes, you did.
So, well, maybe none of you are good enough?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, we all get to keep going.
Right.
None of us were killed.
Okay.
If this sounds confusing, there's like an RP element, the role-playing element to the way that we covered E3 on Frame Trap. It sounds
way off,
stupid.
yeah.
but
Too
it's
much to
actually really
explain
good.
right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
You just got to dig in.
It's good.
But
it's
it's
good.
a great video, great discussions.
Yep.
Check it out.
Ben Moore in rare form.
Yes.
Ben Moore completely in control of the narrative. All of us just waiting on the edge of our seat for the next words out of Ben Moore's mouth.
Well, actually, I think he lets us add a lot too, which is really nice. He's like a good DM. He lets us play along.
Love it.
Yeah.
Final word. You're gonna see Bloodborne 2 at PSX. Count on it. I believe 100%. And always, for my boy General Hux, somewhere out there in space right now, dreaming about his accomplishments, thinking back to that day where he blew up the Senate, going, "Fuck the Republic and fuck the Senate! Fire!"
I am enjoying these microtransactions.